The Sailor Pro Fit Lite is a fairly compact fountain pen that sits near the bottom of Sailor's lineup of pens with 14 karat gold nibs. It's available in several finishes. The one that we have here is called Shining Blue for obvious reasons. The finials are both conical. The bottom finial comes to a point and the top finial is a little bit more rounded. And that top finial is separated from the cap with a single gold band. And then there's a bent metal clip that's springy and functional. The cap then tapers down to a thin gold band, followed by a thicker gold band. The thicker gold band reads, Founded 1911, Sailor, Japan. There's then a little bit of exposed plastic and a step down to the barrel. The cap comes off in 1 and about 3/4 turn to reveal a nice 14 karat gold nib. It has scroll work on the outside, the inker logo, 14K585 denoting a 58.5% gold content, and on the side we have a B for broad. This pen is also available in a handful of other nib grinds. The section starts with a flare-up and then a fairly consistent thickness, followed by a thin gold band, threads that are smooth to the touch, another flat section, and then a step up to the barrel. The barrel then tapers down to another gold band, followed by the end finial. In the hand, the pen is compact, lightweight, and well-balanced. It's suitable for note-taking and long writing sessions as long as you don't have very large hands. But the cap does post deeply and securely. It makes the pen a little bit longer, but it maintains a very good balance. In terms of size comparisons, here's the Sailor, a typical G2 rollerball pen, and your standard Sharpie. For those of you who have been following this channel, you may have recently seen the review that I did on the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Shikiori Vega edition. I was a little underwhelmed by the nib, which is a medium fine. I found it to be a little too thin and also have a little more feedback than I like. And for those reasons, I no longer have that pen. But as a stand-in, I do have the Jinhao 82, which has a pretty comparable overall dimension. And actually the finish is largely similar to the Vega edition, though the base color is a little more translucent and closer to a turquoise, while the Vega edition base color was closer to this Pro Fit Lite. You can see though the finishes of these two are largely similar. The sparkling finish on the Pro Fit Lite is a little bit more continuous, whereas it's more spaced out on the Vega edition as well as this Jinhao 82. The overall size of the Jinhao 82 is smaller than the Pro Fit Lite. The Jinhao 82 and the Pro Gear Slim are verging on pocket pen territory, whereas the Pro Fit Lite I would say is close to a full-size fountain pen. Let's take a look at these pens uncapped. Uncapped, we see that the Pro Fit Lite is a little bit longer than the Jinhao 82. The sections are pretty similar in overall styling. And let's take a look at these pens posted. Both caps post deeply and securely, but the Pro Fit Lite is again a little bit longer than the Jinhao 82. Disassembling the Sailor Pro Fit Lite, cap unscrews. And unfortunately there isn't an easy way to disassemble the finial or the clip, but there is a cap liner in here that's a press fit. If you give the cap a few taps on the table, it will get loose and come out. I don't know if that's the result of a misbuild. When I did get this pen, I found the cap liner loose in the packaging. The nib then unscrews from the barrel. And here I have a converter. It did not come with the pen. I did purchase this aftermarket, which is a little disappointing, but they're easy to find and they're about 10 US. And then we have the nib, feed, and section. The nib and feed pull out of the section, and those can be set aside. If you want to further disassemble the converter, it is pretty easy. You just unscrew the sleeve, and then the converter will come out with a collar. But at this point, the pen is fully disassembled. To reassemble, we'll start with the converter. place the piston with the collar inside the barrel, and then screw the piston knob down over that. Next, we'll do the nib and feed. The nib places right on top of the feed. There is a little ridge at the back of the feed to help seat that nib properly. And then that unit gets pushed into the section. To that, we'll assemble the converter, followed by the barrel. And then for the cap, I am fighting this cap liner to stay in place. I just take a poker and apply some pressure to help hold it in. And then that gets screwed onto the barrel. And now we're ready to ink up. Inking up the Sailor Pro Fit Light. Today I selected Diamine Blue Velvet. It's a nice deep blue that I feel like complements the finish on this pen pretty well. Cap unscrews, barrel unscrews from the section. We want to make sure the converter is all the way down. Submerge the nib and turn the piston knob to draw up ink. In order to get a full fill, I'm going to extend the piston back down and do it one more time. Go ahead and wipe off the excess ink. Put the barrel back on. Followed by the cap. And we're ready to write. Okay, writing with the Sailor Pro Fit Light. Cap unscrews. And this nib is a broad, 14 karat gold. The nib is very well tuned. It's smooth. It does have a little bit of singing to it, which happens when the tines vibrate in a certain way that it produces a sound. But it's not obnoxiously loud. And it writes dramatically better than my experience with the medium fine on the Pro Gear Slim. Our ink is Diamine Blue Velvet. For flex, I'm going to turn the page so you can see a little closer. No real line variation to be had here. This is a very stiff nib, which is a little surprising for a 14 karat gold, but that is something that you can expect. For reverse writing, it is more scratchy than the front way up, but you do get a much thinner line, and the feed mostly kept up. So I would say in a pinch, you could do reverse writing if you needed to. So what do I think of the Sailor Pro Fit Light? It's a very attractive pen. The finish on this one, the shining blue, is kind of captivating, really beautiful. The pen is comfortable in the hand. It's well balanced and lightweight. And for me, it's perfect size for note-taking and long writing. But if you have larger hands, the cap posts beautifully, making the pen still stay very well balanced. And it doesn't feel like the cap is going to fall off or anything like that. Also, the value of this pen is quite impressive for being about half the price of the Sailor Pro Gear Slim model. And the fact that you can get it in different sizes compared to the Shikiori line is a great feature to have. Areas where I think this could be improved, there's really just two. The first one would be the section material. I would have liked to see them make this section out of plastic so that you could eyedropper this pen if you wanted to. I don't personally eyedropper pens much, but I know that is something that people value. And the other thing, which is probably more severe, is this cap liner. If I shake this cap and I tap it on the table, that cap liner will fall out. And like I mentioned, I don't know if this was a defect in the manufacturing process of this specific pen or if that's something that you can expect from this model. But that's pretty disappointing, and it really makes me hesitant to take this pen out and about, as if it falls out, you have lost something that is pretty critical for keeping the nib wet. So that's disappointing to see. But besides that, it's a beautiful pen to look at, comfortable in the hand. The nib is very well tuned, though not the most bouncy in the world. And I would say it's a very nice pen to have in your collection. And that just leaves me to say, thank you for watching.